And without a moment to spare, we go straight back to what I was doing before, which was ignoring Popola. At this juncture, there is actually another small set of side quests that we can do. And I say set because they become available basically simultaneously, but one of them has to be accomplished before the other one can be taken.
Man, I'm bushed.
By which I mean that, you know, you accept the one and then finish it, and then accept the other. You don't have to wait for any other events to trigger beforehand. And in order to find it, you actually have to bother coming back to the tavern and talking to Devila. You will not be able to do anything with this until you do that. While we're here, might as well check up on this dad. It's kind of sad. Not Bon Appetit, although I did neglect to do that one. It is a tale in the study from Sebastian. Yeah, this is the only way to get him to reappear. So much like the latter parts of the Lighthouse Lady, you have to find Devila and talk to her about this to be able to trigger this next part of the quest. Or, well, this next quest at all. We'll just kind of hop over straight to the manor. Yep, there we go. And see what Sebastian has been doing for the last who knows how long. Sitting? No, Nier, no, don't kill any dapper shades. Nah, fine. So yeah. Sebastian's apparently been cleaning. Marvelous. And he apparently found a shade. Just hanging out, reading Proust, I assume. Or whatever survived until now. Let's have a look. Oh wow, it's actually going through the library books.
Who told you you could live in my home? I'll crush you like a bug. Be careful, please.
This is a rather hard shell to crack.
Doesn't matter. I'll slice it apart one way or the other.
Neil's a real sweet kid, but he's very serious about castle law. Anyway, this is the friendly shade. This fight is weird. It doesn't attack. It kind of barely even tries to run away from you. It does have an anti-magic barrier, which makes it kind of difficult to fight against. And very difficult for Emil to do anything about it. And, it has a lot of HP. What you're seeing was from me accidentally leaving the game on easy mode, which is just as well because this fight poses no challenge. It feels kind of weird. And even on normal, it would just take 5 minutes of trying to beat the crap out of this poor thing. So, yeah, that's it. They come from the basement. I'm pretty sure that they're coming from your basement. Anyway, we never get to answer that question for him. And having done that, we head right back to the village. Because Sebastian isn't done with us yet.
If only our harvests weren't so poor lately.
You can't take this just by talking to him again for some bizarre reason. But when we come back to Devila, he has submitted another letter. Wait a minute. Did she just say we have strange friends in reference to the butler?
Oh, it's you, eh? Well, I'm counting
I know
on
he's
you.
some freaky robot thing, but have you seen the rest of the party, Devila? The Shade Lady? The Skeleton Kid? The Floating Book? I know you've seen the Floating Book. You've got some bizarre standards, my friend. It's been so long since last we saw you. So you do know where the shades come from. Okay. So I guess Sebastian has actually been spending his time trying to figure out if there's a way to reverse the fusion dancing that Emil did earlier. Yeah, good luck with that. I hate to say this. I really do. But I have issues with this quest. Logic issues. This isn't even like a flavor thing. There are just things that are wrong with this. But first things first, I have to ram things in the face of the spear a lot. Okay. And since we've already been here and we've already done the actual quest here, Vice will no longer yell at us for leaving behind our now teleport-capable party members. And we actually don't need to fight anything in here. It's a simple enough matter to just charge straight through to the bottom of the, laboratory, but I don't know. So many yellow health bars, I just don't like seeing them. I'm not a fan of the color yellow. Oh, that thing had a rare drop, I didn't notice that. Plus, there is something fun about finally having a further upgraded, very good spear and the power behind it, and just being able to slaughter dozens of shades in one go. While we're here and talking about nothing, this little section and the one floor down are the best place that you're going to get dented metal bats. If you just run back and forth between these two, the little shades will constantly respawn. And there's a ton of these little guys down here, so if you ever need them, which, you know, doing full weapon upgrades you eventually will, just running down here and going back and forth is not a bad way to do it. You can also get stopping clocks down here. Although it's a longer path, and actually, I'm not really aware if I had a better place to get stopping clocks, but I never needed to actually farm for them myself. Just dumb luck there. said, if there's any place these shades are coming from, I'm pretty sure it's the basement. It's a good question as to why they're all here, though. I have better questions as to what that one was doing in the library. Reading? Was that literally it? Did it just get bored of terrorizing townspeople and decide, hey, it's a comfortable chair, even though I'm pretty sure there are no chairs in there, and a lot of books? Maybe I'll just read something for a while. I'm bored. The distribution of shades here, unlike most areas that you wind up revisiting, is actually the exact same as the first time we came here. That's unusual because they usually become a little more, sparse, I suppose, although this only really applies to, the Lost Shrine, the Barren Temple. Anyway, around this time I decided that I'd killed enough shades, not gonna prompt any more spawns, and this little shiny has now appeared. Problem number 1. List of names and addresses. Why would you keep that on a secret government project on a piece of paper? And why would you list them as coastal town? Problem 2. It can't be seafront. She's most likely dead. Not certainly. Just hasn't been long enough. I'm not sure. Yeah, problem number 2. This can't refer to seafront. Even if for some reason they penciled down all this information and put in coastal town instead of an actual address, seafront didn't exist back then. Seafront was still in the middle of the continent. Sorry, island, whatever. Seafront, only within the last couple hundred years, has existed as it does now, because of the rising tides. If they were looking for a coastal town, they would have to look underwater to find out what they're actually searching for. That is not an address! Did they draw treasure maps? What is that what this is? Was this like one of the kids' activities? Draw a treasure map to somebody's house? Is that what happened? Anyway, right above the entrance is this little place, which we've never been able to look at before. This leads us straight to problem 3. Problem 3 being that this was secret government research, and I'm pretty sure that all the people involved in this project weren't allowed to ever go home. This leads us straight into problem 4, where he's referring to an older relative as though they were alive simultaneously. This is obviously nonsense because this weapons research that we're looking up occurred almost 1400 years ago, well outside of the common lifespan of the average human being. Even if this guy did have an older relative involved in weapons research, I'm pretty sure that it was not the biomagical weaponry that we're looking into, it was something about swords. This is nonsense. Plus, he specifically mentions that she was very guarded about this lockbox with this paper inside it, which means that she was alive in contemporary times, not ancient times when the biomagical research was actually being conducted. This is a different person. This has to be. Problem 5, I'm a moron, and decided to try and find a different way down for some reason. And I did find a way down. See, here, right over this guardrail, is what looks like a nice little shortcut back down to the low, except that's actually a river. No, wait! Granted, this is not a problem with the side quest. So basically what we have here is we just received a letter written from somebody within the last 100 years about weapons development, which they couldn't have possibly known about because it happened 1,400 years ago, which we found in a coastal city, which didn't exist 1,400 years ago, on a piece of paper written by a government agency, which inexplicably put its location as above the gate. That is not an address. Apparently this person did not have a name. What was going on here? None of this makes sense. Why is this happening? Just gonna hand this to the butler and let him try and figure it out. I don't even know anymore. And he instantly, magically translates it. What? Actual problem number 5. This letter, the way it's worded, sounds more like an apology for what's happened very recently, as opposed to an apology for what happened back then. I mean, things were not good back then. Things went very badly back then. But this seems more like an apology for, hey, sorry about that skeletons thing. Not so much, hey, sorry about that Gorgon thing. At least I taught you how to play the piano, right? He says with all the quiet desperation of one whose hopes have been indelibly and cruelly crushed, yet again. I think we're done here.